Hey guys. So I think we're all fed up with the way that 2020 turned out. All of our plans had to be postponed. The things that we typically looked forward to, we didn't have. And it was a struggle to get through the things that we usually are capable of. With 2021 just being right around the corner, it's important for us to understand that we're not just going to wake up and that things are going to change for us because it's a new year. That's not how things work. What we need to do right now is we need to create the habits right now that we want to live by so that the next year is a better year. The reason why I focus on the body so much is because it is something that is understandable, it's tangible, and we can feel the difference. Our mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health are all interconnected. And if we can work on our physical health, then that will ripple and it will affect all the other things. So if we can understand that there are things that we can be doing for ourselves that we are deciding to do, um, that will help us feel calmer, that will help us feel more collected, then we're better at making decisions. We're better at reacting to things so that we're not, put in this corner and affected so harshly that we react in ways that we generally wouldn't. This whole year has been that over and over and over again. And we've been feeling that we've been constantly stressed in a constant state of anxiety. But we don't have to let that win and we don't have to let that overtake us. We can do something about it. So this past year, I participated in something that was done by Fitness Culture Programming. And something that they taught about was HIIT cardio that had to do with um, running outside and doing 10 burpees, right? So the way that it was done was you do 10 burpees and then you would run about 50 yards, run back, run 100 yards, run back, run 150 yards, run back, and then you would do 9 burpees. And so you would do this until you go from 10 down to 1. Now that is extremely hard to do. If you've never done it before, it really tests your will. And it was something that really pushed me beyond what I'm used to doing. And I liked it because it required me to do more than what I'm used to. And when you do that, your body realizes that it has to change, that it has to become better in some way to better prepare you for the next time that you do that. And that is when your body starts to use up the additional fat that it has deposited because that fat was actually being held onto for the purpose of surviving. If anything were to happen to you that you needed additional assistance, that is where that storage finally gets used. And so you have to create these moments that push you beyond what you're used to so that then you can use those things. And I would notice, and especially right now, I've been noticing that parts of my body finally start letting go of this additional excess that I've been carrying, from my legs. My legs carry a lot of fat, and my lower back, my chest. And as you start seeing those changes, you start realizing, okay, look, I got this. I can do this. I'm in a better state mentally. And as you're faced with hardship, you're more collected in your mind. It's easier to make decisions. and that is all influenced by the way that your body is feels, it's reacting, and it's changing. Okay, so this morning I had been doing my morning cardio, and I had been doing my HIIT training, and specifically for this, I'm on a air runner, and I'm doing this morning I was doing 30 seconds of running with then 30 seconds of walking. And when I hit about 13 to 14 minutes is when I finally started to struggle, and I started noticing signals from my body. And these signals were that my feet began to tighten up. I started getting really dry in my mouth, and I started trying to swallow, but there's nothing really there. And I started breathing heavier. And this is when what happens is we go through a process that our body releases endorphins. The endorphins are used so that the pain that we're feeling then becomes pleasure. And this moment is the moment where you have to mentally push beyond it so that you can improve and so that your body can change. And I do this every single day. This is something that I love to do because if I'm doing it, then everything else that I do on a regular basis, all of the hardship that I face is so much easier. Because I know that when I was running in the morning, I pushed beyond. I didn't let that get in the way. I didn't let it stop me, right? I already conquered my morning, so I can conquer anything that comes my way throughout the day. And something that I do while I'm running is I actually get into a state of mind called the 1,000-yard stare. This is when you see somebody who, what happens is they zone out. So whatever you may be doing, you look towards a direction. You're not actually looking at anything specific, but you're looking past it. And as you're looking past it, you're actually creating a daydream within your mind. And as long as you focus on that, then you zone out of the present moment and what is actually happening in front of you. And then the pain that you're going through, it goes away because you're not focusing on the pain anymore. And I continued on for 30 minutes. I struggled at 13 to 14 minutes, and I went for an additional 16 minutes doing that type of hard cardio. That is where my body realizes, okay, look, he wants to do more. He wants to push his body further than where we're at right now. And because of that, now I have to survive even better than before. Right now, that is absolutely needed. There is no excuse that we can be giving because right now, as a nation, we're fighting a disease. And we need our heart, and we need our immune system, and we need our lungs all to be working at an optimal rate. And this is one of the ways that we can do that. It's by little, we're pushing ourselves to a point where we are struggling, and we ask our body to go a little bit further. As we do that, we become stronger, more capable of facing the everyday, the typical things that we're going to go through. And also, if the disease gets that close to us, we need to be able to fight it off. That is our best line of defense, our own health. At this point, I think it's really important for us to understand that we have a tool that we can use that can help us in moments of anxiety. And that tool is being able to breathe, understanding what breathing deeply can do for you, so that when you are faced with the disease, when it gets close to you, that you don't allow it to get to your head, and you don't allow it to make you think you're sick. Because that same process is the same process that we go through when you take a pill and it's a placebo, right? Where that drug that you're taking actually doesn't do anything. But because you think it's going to do something, it then affects you in a way of healing you. When you're faced with that disease and you allow it to get to your head, you may think you're sick by your throat getting raspy. I've needed to, spit more often. Things like that I typically don't do and don't think twice about, only because I'm worried, right? And so what I can do at this point is I can close my eyes and take a couple deep breaths. It's that simple. It's not, you don't want to think too hard about this. Okay? So here, let's give it a try. Okay? So So what that allows us to do is it takes the anxiety, the tension that we carry, and it drops it down. Physically, it really does that. And it allows us to become present in this moment where I'm not worried about the future and I'm not creating a problem for myself, but I am now reacting here, in this moment, in this time. That way, we are now in control of our physical health, our mental health, our emotional health, and our spiritual health. Because if we can better control those things, then we can better fight off the things that come our way. We can have confidence once again, in what we do. We don't have to live in fear. We can better make decisions. It's so helpful. This can be used forever, for the rest of our lives. It can be used in moments of stress. Okay. It's funny. When I was a kid, I went to the University of Utah and I was diagnosed with sports-induced asthma. And I was told if I do hard things physically that my lungs were going to struggle and I was going to wheeze and I was going to have to take a medication in order for me to function normally. And at this point in my life, with the things that I've learned and the things that I constantly do, what I am disciplined about, I feel like my lungs are stronger than they've ever been. That is so important. It's a change in the way that we view things and that we interact with the world. We don't have to just allow these things to define us, but we're able to change that because we're taking responsibility for ourselves, for our well-being. Like that's huge. That's huge. And in that way, I have a better quality of life. That brings peace of mind to the things that I go through. Knowing that because of my actions, because of my decisions that I'm making, that I can continue enjoying the things that we go through in this world. It gives me more joy that I don't have to go through these things because I'm forced to. but because um, I'm choosing, I'm deciding to be here and to be present. Okay. So my friend told me that Taiwan had a rave. Like, how crazy! I want they they're the example. Look at them. How could you have that many people show up at one place and not be afraid of something happening? Because they took the measures. They took what was needed so that they can go back to this life that we now appreciate so much more, you know? We thought that the things that we were doing would last forever. Especially at raves. How many times did you go to a rave and did you see a similar set? And how many times did that DJ play again and again and again and again, and you thought that was never gonna end? And you may have even thought, man, when are they gonna play something new? Like, when are they gonna do a new set? Well, right now, because of what we're going through, a lot of DJs are actually putting out new music, and as soon as things get back to being normal or as close to normal as possible, all the sets will be new. How nice is that going to be when we actually get to that point? It's going to take some time, but look, if we're taking care of ourselves and we're taking the steps to make 2021, like we said, a better year, not by chance, but by our actions, by the habits that we're creating. If we take this a little bit more seriously, then we can enjoy the things that we've been missing, the things that we could be looking forward to, the things that help us to get through the year, and all the hardship that we're faced with. So I got a new toy. It's here around my neck. It's called the Sense Stone, and it helps me take notes with my voice. So what it does is if I push this button on the side, it actually records my voice as I speak, and then it sends it to my phone and it transcribes it for me. So then I have like a written note, as well as I can listen to my voice because it recorded it. And to me, that's actually such a valuable thing to have. The other day I used it to record the dream that I had, and I wanted to share that dream with you guys. So while I was in there, I remember that there was a dog that came to me, and I had laid down in a bed, and the dog came and it started like, putting itself close to me and, giving me the feeling that it wanted attention and that it wanted to be loved. And so, I was there and I was like, oh, like this is nice. Thanks for coming to me out of all people, to, feel appreciated. And then what happened was that there was some wolves. So two wolves showed up and they started barking at the dog and like scaring it off. And they also wanted attention, so they ended up coming over to me as well. But they were more aggressive, so I had to help calm them down, but at the same time, also give them the attention and the love that they needed. And then a hyena showed up, and the hyena was so aggressive, it got rid of the two wolves. The dog was already gone, and the hyena was aggressive towards me as well, but I helped calm it down, and then it just walked away. So the type of person that I am is I'm the type of person who can put up with people who are hard to deal with. And I understand that they just need to be understood and loved and accepted just a little different. Everybody's a little different. And so I think that message was trying to get across to me that each person who is going to show up is not going to be may not be easy to deal with, but they just need to be listened to and understood in the best way that we can. And as this dream continued, I remember that I was at a school and we were in a cafeteria. And there was a little girl who was sitting alone. And I walked up to her and I sat next to her. And I asked her, what was wrong, because she seemed really sad. And as she spoke to me, she told me that she was with her brother, and her brother had gone off with this girl. And her brother always does this. Her she is the responsibility of her brother, but he'll tell her to wait, and he'll go off, and she'll wait much longer than she needs to, and then he'll finally come back and pick her up and take her with him. And as I listened to her tell me this, I let her know that it wasn't her fault that she's in this situation. She was just born into this. But the world isn't fair, and I get it that she's doing the best that she can. I understand her struggle. It matters what she's going through, what she was feeling. Just because she was a child doesn't make it not important. I couldn't fix her problem, but the fact that I could feel what she felt for a moment and let her know that she's heard, that her words matter. My subconscious does the same thing for me. It listens to my struggles, and it provides me in its own time what I need in order to get through these things. Because at the end of the day, when we want to have peace of mind, the acceptance and the love that we need actually comes from ourselves. And from the moment that we feel that safety, that acknowledgement, that care that we've been needing. And all that, begins with us taking care of our mental, our emotional, spiritual, and our physical health. And I hope that you take the time to do what is needed for you, because that way we will get through this, and we'll get through this in a better way, in a way that we can smile. We can smile through the hardships that we face, and that 2021 will be a much better year for each one of us. Thanks for listening, guys.